Well, that's what Queen is, love. Queen is for everyone. The band belongs to everybody. That's what makes us the greatest band in the world, and doesn't make us pretentious in making our own movie at all. Bohemian Rhapsody, released in 2018 and is directed by Bryan Singer, who has also directed such films like The Usual Suspects, a handful of the X-Men films, Superman Returns, and Jack the Giant Slayer. And the reason why I say kind of direct is because Bryan Singer on the set was doing Bryan Singer things, like not being there or just clashing with the cast, to eventually where the studio said, hey Bryan, you done, you fired. And then they brought in Dexter Fletcher, who was originally scheduled to direct this film before things kind of passed along and then went back to the original people and then passed them along again, and then Queen was like, no, we need to represent ourselves. You'll find that my Queen impersonation is very much like a Beatles impersonation, but I'm just gonna go with it, because that's how I heard things coming out in this movie. And this film is starring Rami Malek, Lucy Boynton, Willem Lee, Ben Hardy, Joe Mazeo, Aidan Gillen, Alan Leach, Tom Hollander, and Mike Myers. We're not worthy! We're not worthy! It was actually really cool seeing Mike Myers playing a part in the Bohemian Rhapsody movie when his movie Wayne's World is what really brought the song Bohemian Rhapsody back to the forefront of pop culture and brought it to the top of the charts again in the 90s. I remember me and my friends just driving down the roads with that song just blaring in the background, doing exactly what they did in Wayne's World. Actually, I remember a tornado was coming through. Stuff was blowing all over the place. We barely had control of the car, and we were going down the main drive of our town, and we still just played Bohemian Rhapsody. And we were just cruising along because we were young and we didn't think, oh, nothing can harm us because we're teenagers. Even though there was like a tornado like a mile away. God, I was dumb back then. Now, let me just preface this review in saying that I am not a music historian. I am probably the worst person to talk about, hey, what is legit in this movie? What actually happened? Did these things actually happen with the people that they happened to? I have no idea. I'm actually not that for any musician. For me, music is just, play me the song and see if it gets an emotional reaction out of me. I could really, personally, care less on who wrote it and the groupies that they had and the record deals that they had. I don't care. Just play a nice song for me and I'll go along with it. I know that was a big thing when this film came out. There was a lot of flack that it got because a lot of the things that happen in here didn't actually happen, or they didn't happen that way and that quickly, which I guess offended a lot of people. But in my history with film that's based on like a biography or based on a book, you're gonna get artistic liberties all the time. How is this film any different? So with me prefacing that, let's talk about Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie. Bohemian Rhapsody tells the story of how the band Queen came to be the band Queen. Roger Taylor and Brian May just lost their lead singer in a band. Luckily for them though, a boy by the name of Freddie comes along and offers his services to be their lead singer. Freddie and the band go through an amazing journey and amazing tours all around Europe and North America while establishing their band name of Queen and becoming one of the greatest bands in the world. And this all leads to one of the greatest performances ever in the history of music, Queen's performance at Wembley Stadium during Live Aid. Which, I'm not joking, is one of the best performances, musical performances, I've ever seen, and I think the world has ever seen. It is so captivating. I found myself, after watching this movie, just going back and just watching the actual real-life Live Aid version just over and over and over again, because Freddie Mercury is such a charismatic enigma that you just can't look away. And not like it's a car crash you can't look away. Like, no, this guy is a wonderful singer and a beautiful performer. I can't look away. I don't want to look away because he is killing it. And that's how he was during his run with Queen before he passed away. He was known for pushing the boundaries, known for his elaborate costuming, his elaborate mannerisms, and his amazing vocal range, which apparently he has extra teeth, providing more space in the mouth, which gives him more of a range? I don't know the science behind that, but I trust the science. I believe the science. Had to put a political joke in there. So when you look at that Live Aid performance and you look really on any live performance that's recorded of Freddie Mercury, it was the time when recordings were a normal occurrence. So actors, directors, dramaturgs, they have a lot of information that they can pull from in establishing the correct portrayal of this character and of this band. So I don't envy the casting director at all when it came to finding someone to fill the shoes of Freddie Mercury. However, I think they did an amazing job with finding Rami Malek. Because, wow, I think it's his show. This movie is all about him. If he wasn't in here giving the performance of his life, this movie probably would just fall off my radar, which we'll get to in a second. And I know he wasn't the original choice. I know that this film was originally supposed to be directed by Dexter Fletcher, which is one of the greatest names ever in the history of humankind, and it was going to be starring Sacha Baron Cohen, and they wanted to delve into, like, an actual biography of Freddie Mercury. Not just his Queen stuff, but also his private life, and all of the shit that he got into there. And he got into a lot of crap. But then we run into really the reason why I think this film is really just kind of surface level and stale, and I got a sense there was a lot of restraints and restrictions on what could be in this movie. It's because Queen, the band members, had final say in what was going to be in this film, which I respect up to a certain point. This is your story. If someone came to you and was going to say, hey, I want to make a movie about your life, yes, we definitely want to get your input as to what the big moments are. But then you're also looking at your life through your eyes, and if you think that you were like God's gift to the planet, I mean, it's pretty one-sided. It's actually refreshing and can be very artistically pleasing, bringing in some other artists that had no connection to what originally happened. That way they can take a look at the overall picture and shape a cohesive art piece out of your life, or in this instance, Queen's life as a band. But then when the people who are actually living through it were like, no, we don't want to talk about that. We want to just talk about how amazing our music is and how our music is for the people, and we're like the greatest band ever. Let's just talk about that. The movie then becomes very self-assuring and self-praising to the point where I'm almost hurling because it's very annoying. Yes, could you make a movie about me and just tell me how great I am and how amazing my contribution to the world is? That's this movie. And maybe some of you that haven't seen this film maybe think that I'm maybe a little too hard on it. Maybe I'm just finding like the subtext of what's actually being said. No. Lines are actually being said in this movie saying, well, not all bands request this. Not every band is Queen, darling. It's basically 2 hours of that. And it's sad because I know that this film was not originally going to be that. It was going to be that outsider's look in looking at the grand scope of Queen, in particular, the life of Freddie Mercury. And I'm gonna call bullshit on the whole, oh, our music belongs to the people line that you keep hearing throughout this entire film, because if your music, Queen, belongs to the people and belongs to the world, then I could play this song without needing to bleep it out and not being hit with a copyright claim on this video. Let's try it. Wasn't that awesome? So when you get all these restrictions, when you have, that parent looking over the shoulder of the child, making sure that he's going to do all the problems correctly and do all of his homework correctly, you get a film that feels very timid and very scared and very surface level on everything. It's really cool to see all the Queen performances reenacted with all these actors, and I think the actors do a great job with what they're given in portraying these real life, larger than life rock stars. But the way it's shot, cinematography here, it's very uninspiring. They attempted this really cool transitioning between years and hit songs where the camera is panning and moving, and it looks like, hey, we're going to the back of the bus, and then we're going to go through the glass of the back of the bus, and then we get another performance, and then we keep moving to another bus, and then we go through that window. And the transition is so janky and so jerky that it feels like I could make that on this, and I have no skills when it comes to filmmaking at all. but I feel like I could do it. And if I have to see another, like, reassuring and self-praising look from an actor, a look from the actor looking over at Freddie, going, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. It's clear to me that the only saving grace of this film is the performance of Rami Malek. And like I said, he is fantastic. He does a great job of portraying Freddie Mercury. And he's not just impersonating him. He's putting his own spin on the character of Freddie Mercury. Of course, Freddie Mercury, he could never be 100% completely impersonated, but I like the baggage that he brings to it. You can tell that he is putting a little bit of himself, Malek is, into the role of Freddie Mercury, and I really respect that. I think his performance of the reenactment of Live Aid was actually really, really good. You can tell that he's probably watched that performance hundreds, thousands of times, getting every single mannerism correct, every single hand gesture, making sure that he captures the actual performance because it's so iconic. The only thing I think hindered his performance during that reenactment of Live Aid was that he didn't sweat in the movie. There wasn't a glisten of any liquids on him. You go watch the actual Live Aid performance, he is sweating buckets. And he is killing it. And to me, as an audience member, when someone, is sweating, you can see that much physical exertion being spent by a performer, I connect with that more because I can tell they're trying. Whereas here, in the film, no one is sweating because it's a movie and these are actors. It's just a little detail that's missing. If it would be there, that whole final 15-20 minutes when they reenacted the Live Aid performance, I think could have really saved this for me. It also probably didn't help that the first day of shooting was the Live Aid performance. Producers are probably like, well, if we're gonna do this, let's just start with that, and let's get the dailies. If it doesn't look good, we'll just pull the plug. But it looked pretty good. The film, like I said, is very surface level. It's a one-man performance that's really the only saving grace of this film. It's really cool to hear all these amazing songs from Queen. I mean, I grew up with Queen, listening to Queen, knowing all of their songs, at least the majority of their songs, but like I said, I didn't follow like who the actual people were. I just loved their music. So it's really cool seeing all of the performances with that. It's just the story that we got here, the reason why I'm watching this, is very surface level. I'm going to give Bohemian Rhapsody 2.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I found that if you have a goal, that you might not reach it. But if you don't have one, then you are never disappointed. And I gotta tell you, it feels phenomenal.
Alright everyone, now comes my favorite part of my videos where I randomly select which movie I'm going to be watching next, so let's take a look. Another musical. Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street. Another film that proves that Donnie Jepp would wear anything that Tim Burton wants him to. I know the Broadway version of this. Actually, I'm very familiar with the Angela Lansbury version of Sweeney Todd. I want to say it was like early 90s, maybe early 80s. But it's Sondheim, so it's very musical. And then I remember watching this movie feeling very disappointed. I've only watched it once, and have never had a desire to watch it again, I guess, until now. So we'll check that one out next time. If any of you have recommendations of films that you want me to review on here, you can leave your comment below this video, or go to my Facebook page, my Instagram, or my Twitter. Leave your recommendation there. If I have access to it, I will watch, review it, and give you a shout on the channel. And if you really want to help support this channel, or if you really want your recommendation to get done as quickly as possible, you can make a PayPal donation on the main page of my YouTube channel. Just select the donate button. Any size donation will do. Attach your movie with your donation. And if I have access to it, I will watch it, review it, and give you a shout out as quickly as possible. So guys, have you seen Bohemian Rhapsody? What did you think about it? I'm actually very curious as to what your take was on this movie. It was a very divisive one. Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell so you know the next time I'm releasing next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time with my review of Sweeney Todd. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.